I'm going to the police academy.
That's the Citizens Police Academy, Lance.
That's even better. Let's go!
First Trust Bank has a brand new, state-of-the-art facility here in Richmond. Stop in and ask about the products and services they offer. First Trust Bank is known for hometown people and hometown service. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and MLS number 688788.
Gwendolyn Morton with WBONTV.com, and I'm here for the fourth week of CPA with Lance the Lawman Gaither. I would ask how it went last night, but I don't have to because I was there. It was the detention center tour last night, along with, now I only stayed for about half of it. I came for the detention center and I left before the sheriff's speech. I went in and said my hellos and then left. It was getting kind of late. I was hungry.
Excuses.
Excuses. I'm going to be honest. The food cooking at the jail didn't smell horrible last night because I think I was hungry.
I didn't smell any cooking, did I?
Oh, I don't know. I noticed it. So, and I guess I was walking around with with Purdy and Jake from Berea and Josh from Richmond, and they were kind of mentioning it a little bit, so maybe that just got it in the forefront of my mind. But anyway, the reason I decided to go this week was because I enjoyed it so much last year. What's your take on it?
I really enjoyed it. It was cool. I've never been to prison or a detention center, so it's kind of cool to see the inside in real life. There were some inmates giving some taunts and trying to look at us out there one-way windows. So they were all lined up with their faces pressed against the glass, trying to get a glimpse at all the people who were in the detention center, because apparently it was the most exciting thing they've seen in years, maybe.
It was pretty exciting for them. A couple of uproars while we were there.
Oh, yes.
So that was interesting. I don't remember that happening last year. I remember a little bit of, the knocking on the window or whatever, but nothing where we had to stand where there was inmates being moved around because of disruptions.
Yeah, actually, I believe there was didn't they move a convicted murderer past you? Or?
There was, right behind me.
Yes.
Went right behind me, so that was interesting.
I was in the control tower at the time, so I was not there.
Okay. So the control tower, that was actually one of the most interesting things I thought that I saw last year. Give me your thoughts on that.
It was really cool. It was it's like the central tower. It's you go up there and they have like a whole bunch of TV screens that display they have cameras pretty much all throughout the facility and in every cell. So it was cool seeing how they watch every cell. They have to have someone there at all times just because they're legally required to.
Right.
So all the inmates, they have a phone in their cells. They are legally required to have 5 minutes a week, but the jail is nice and gives them more unless they're acting up. So if they're acting up, they can cut off the phone. So really it was kind of, they have control. They also, while we were in there, some of the inmates flagged down the woman controlling the cells and asked for them to turn down the lights in the cells because people were trying to sleep, so she did.
Yeah, that is just the command center for the whole facility.
Yes.
It controls the lights, it controls everything, the cameras, everything throughout the entire facility.
Yes.
And I also find it interesting when whatever guard that is that goes on duty goes into that room, they're locked in.
Yes, the head guard, he dropped his key and kicked it under the door.
Right. So that's a security feature.
Well, he said she's not locked in, they're locked out.
Yeah, that's true because she has the key.
Yes.
So, what was the most interesting thing that you learned?
I think probably the coolest thing was seeing we actually got the special treat of seeing the inside of the cell, which I believe you didn't get
I
to.
did not get to that. So last night they were painting the cells. They said that they do that every 6 months. Did you catch that?
I think so, but he
Yeah.
said they're very destructive in the cells.
Right.
Course,
Next
and,
week it won't look like it does. But so I think that there was about 22 people with our group last night, and I think that cell generally holds 30-ish.
I think he said it had I think, was it 15 beds, but they keep more in there because they're over capacity.
Yeah, well, I counted. There was 12 beds.
12.
So there's 12 beds, and that cell generally occupies 30 people.
Yeah.
So very tight quarters. I was surprised about the tables in there.
Oh yeah, they actually had tables, a TV,
Yeah.
a phone, and then a thing to do email, which he said the head guard again said that their emails and phones are closely watched. And he said they actually get caught a few convictions. They go in the cell and immediately call their friend and tell them what they're in for and what they did. So, of course, the prison is listening to that and they have a confession pretty much.
A little more privacy than I suspected. I guess I watched a lot of movies and I just assumed there was just a facility outside in the main room where you would do your business, and there's not. It's an alcove with a shower curtain, generally
Yes.
speaking. So, and that area is the toilet and the shower. So
Yes.
that was a little more privacy than what I had
Was expected.
originally, expected in that.
Yes.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I wouldn't want to be stuck in that cell,
I don't want anything
especially with
to
30
do with
other
that.
people.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that could be a bad situation.
Something interesting, you were there when they took us to the rec area, right?
Oh, yes, I was. So I was on the back end of that group that came in because I was kind of hanging back. So, this is my second time going in. So I was kind of hanging back. So I didn't always catch everything that the chief deputy was talking about. And so I came into the area and he was talking and he said something about, these guys, they wanted some outside time at dark time. You don't get that at night. And I turned around and there was 4 guys. There were inmates standing behind me. I had no idea. I didn't realize there were inmates in there
Yeah.
when we walked in.
I was one of the first to walk in, and the chief
deputy?
Chief deputy, yes, they were in there just standing around. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" It's like, and they said, "This is the only time we get to see darkness."
That's a great point. So there's never complete darkness in the cells
No.
for security purposes. So, and you can't imagine how peaceful it would be outside. And there was only 4 of them in there, and I think that they were just taking in a moment. And
It's the roof in the rec area is mesh, so you can see the sky. And the chief deputy said that's their outside is when they get to see that sky. Is the only time they see the outside world.
yeah, oh, hard to deal with, I think.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be very fun. I don't think.
I think they did tell a story last night of the escape.
Oh yes.
Okay, do you remember anything about
I'm
that?
trying to remember the details. It's the women's and men's rec area are right next to each other in the prison. He said that it was a shared roof, both were mesh, they were the same height. He said they actually had two of the male guys, they boosted someone up on their shoulders.
That's correct.
He climbed over to the women's side, got on top of the roof, jumped down onto 2nd Street, and
Was
made a
gone.
run for it.
Yeah, was gone for 2 days. Now, of course, that was some
He got-
extra
Yes.
charges there.
The 2 of the trustees, which were the prisoners who were in there, said he got 2 days of freedom for 5
5
extra
years.
years in prison.
That's right. All right, so other things we looked at the chair, learned a little bit about the chair, and
Oh, yes.
that is the restraining chair.
Yeah, not the electric chair.
Not the right, not the electric chair. So if you are an inmate that's maybe making a little bit too much noise or not cooperating,
You're not compliant, they
Right.
will lock you in this chair until you are calm.
Another thing that was interesting about that, the chair, they're allowed to use that for 3 hours at a time, and then after 3 hours, 5 minutes. I
5
think.
minutes, yes, let them walk.
And then back in the chair if you're not compliant. We were advised not to touch the chair.
Yes, the chief deputy said he has had quite a few prisoners who say, I have to go to the bathroom to try and get them out. He says, go, while leaving them in the chair, and they tried
They
to call
do.
us bluff, and they went, and he's like, all right, now you're sitting in your own waste.
Yeah, so they do. So anything else that was interesting that you wanted to talk about?
I enjoyed some of the commentary that the guys in solitary were providing to the tour.
That was an interesting situation. I guess you would call that like a meal door.
Yes, the meal door.
Yeah, a meal door that slides down and, to pass food in. For whatever reason, as we were coming through our tour last night, that flap was open on one of the solitary rooms. And the inmates inside took that opportunity to have a seat and communicate
Yes.
with us and give us a little rundown of different things in there.
He told us that what the chief deputy was saying was true. He will tase you.
Yeah, he will tase you. And the murderer that was passed by us, they took control of the situation. Did you see? Oh, you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
They weren't there.
What
Okay, so
happened?
the deputy, he was causing a ruckus, and one of the deputies went into the cell and took him out and, forcefully without touching him. I know that sounds odd, but he was just very verbal about the commands that he gave and moved him along through the area, and he was removed from the cell at that
Yes.
point. So,
Yes, and also, so that's what we did for the tour. So they also took us to the sheriff's office, and we didn't get to look around much, but I've been there quite a bit, so I kind of knew the place. But we got to hear from the sheriff talking about his what he's doing, how KSP and the sheriff's office has changed throughout his years. He said it's a growing operation, that he's proud of it.
and he mentioned the KSP because that's his background.
Yes, he started as KSP
right.
before he became sheriff.
Right, and that is very typical in our sheriff's department, and it's actually a pretty good deal there. They get the training already provided to them, and they take over with some of the deputies that already have the experience. So
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was a pretty good time. I'm looking forward to next week.
What is next week?
I think that's the physical training and takedowns.
Okay. All right.
So
So,
I'll be sure to bring some exercise clothes.
exercise clothes and be ready for those cuffs because they might cuff you up just to show you how to take down a suspect when you were there next week. So
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. Also, I had a lot of fun last year, and I had a lot of fun this week with Citizens Police Academy. We will be back next week for week 5, and we'll see you guys right back here, WBONTV.com. I'm Gwendolyn Morton, and
And I'm Lance, the Lawman Gaither.
see you guys next time.
See ya.